Hey, it's Jim Fisher, aka The Beat, with This Week Community News. I'm at the Columbus Museum of Art with Carol Genschaft. She's the museum curator. Carol, how are you?
I'm good. Good.
Thanks for being with us today. We're taking a look at Strings Attached. It's an exhibit, and I'll let Carol tell a little bit more about it that's going on at the museum right now. Tell us about Strings Attached.
Strings Attached is really kind of an amazing exhibition. We have found out that it is the largest exhibition of Czech puppets that has ever been held anywhere. They're very, very important to the Czech people, who for centuries lived under the domination of other empires and rulers. They were under the radar screen, and often the reality was that they could say things that people couldn't. So during all those years, they kept Czech nationalism, language, culture, and identity alive when these other rulers tried to suppress it. So we have over 150 puppets here. They're all about stories. This group, for example, these are called Caspers, who are the same as kind of Punch and Judy. These puppets in the Czech tradition kind of evolved into a boyish kind of figure who was very delightful and often served as the interlocutor between the audience and the puppets on stage, and kind of always brought in some humor, even when the themes of the plays were much more serious.
Okay. And the exhibit is set up in 3 different galleries. Is it chronological?
Yeah, it is rather chronological. This first gallery, these are the earliest puppets that were really performed by traveling puppeteers who went. This is in the late 18th, 19th, and early 20th centuries, when these puppeteers would travel throughout the Czech Republic. It wasn't the Czech Republic then, it was the lands of Bohemia and Moravia. And they would go to these villages who really didn't have any other kinds of entertainment, no technology, no computers, no television, and they were the entertainment. And so they were very, very important. They would come in covered wagons, they had backdrops, and they'd often set up in pubs, especially during the winter. And they would charge a very small fee so that everybody got to come, families. And I think puppet shows, even as they are today, are sometimes on 2 levels. There's the kids stuff, and then there's a whole other level that maybe only adults really get.
Okay. And this is the second gallery that we're in now, and Carol's going to tell us a little bit in particular about this set of puppets that we're looking at right now.
Spabel is the father, Hervínek is his son. And these became kind of like the Charlie Brown in the Czech Republic. They were beloved by people, yes, and later on they were in films and television. And the father was kind of this bungling, absent-minded guy, and the son was very clever. But during the Nazi period, they could make fun of the Nazis, of the Germans, without them knowing it. Eventually, they caught on. They actually arrested Skupa, the puppet maker and puppeteer, and they actually arrested the puppets as well. So these guys ended up in prison because they were such a threat to the Nazis. A lot of these are since 1948. 1948 was kind of an important year because there was something called the Theater Act. The Czech lands were under communist rule. It was standardized by the Soviets, but Czech imagination and creativity were able to rise to the top. So what you see here is just amazing stories and amazing ways of expressing these stories.
And we're here in the third gallery, and Carol's going to tell us in particular about some of these interesting pieces that are behind us as we sort of progress chronologically through the exhibit.
Absolutely, and this is the most contemporary of the puppets. And this one behind you and this very traditional looking hand puppet are both by Jan Schwankmajer. Kind of the crux of this exhibition, and we call it the living tradition of Czech puppets, is that even these very contemporary, cutting-edge filmmakers and puppeteers are harking back to very traditional kinds of puppets that we saw in the very first gallery. So for example, this one by Jan Schwankmajer that was done in 1966, I think, is a hand puppet based on one of those first Casper images, Punch, that we looked at in the first gallery. But he's used this puppet in a stop-action animation film, which is called Punch and Judy, which is about 2 hand puppets that end up killing each other over a live guinea pig. So Schwankmajer is kind of the surrealist par excellence, and you can see that in this piece behind you as well. He's used lots of found objects to create this androgynous figure that does have strings attached, like traditional puppets. In the Czech Republic, it was the string puppets, the marionettes, that were kind of the classic form.
Sure.
But as you can see, there were also hand puppets and stick puppets. And what's interesting in contemporary times is that these puppets actually became mannequins that were manipulated by actors on stage. So the puppeteers were no longer hidden. They were part of the action.
And these pieces behind us are actually made by an artist who's in residence here in Columbus right now?
Absolutely. Peter Matasek, who is one of the most renowned theater designers in the Czech Republic, has been working with Joe Brandeski, a theater professor at Ohio State, and Joe's students to create a new production called Apotheosis, the fantasy life and work of Edgar Allan Poe. What's so wonderful about these particular puppets is that they are the Faust legend. These ideas that started in the 18th and 19th centuries continue to be relevant. There are many renditions in this exhibition of the devil, and this is one of my favorites. As you can see, this is Faust over here. And this is actually another guise of the devil, a rather racy woman. Puppeteers could turn her upside down, and she was
flip it over.
Yes, because she was another form of the devil.
All right.
Of temptation, certainly.
Gotcha. And Strings Attached is at the Columbus Museum of Art for how long?
It's here until August 4th.
Until August 4th. Great. Thanks for giving us a little tour. We
Thanks
appreciate it.
for having me, and I hope everybody comes and sees the exhibition.
Absolutely.